And Stern.
Detective, come up to the witness stand. When you get up here, please remain standing and raise your right hand to be sworn in by the clerk.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you. You may have a seat. And when you are ready, start by stating your name, spelling your first and last for the record.
Benjamin Stern, B-E-N-J-A-M-I-N. Stern is S-T-E-R-N.
And sir, how are you employed?
I'm a detective with the City of Waukesha Police Department.
How long have you been a detective with the City of Waukesha Police Department?
Approximately 2 years.
And as a law enforcement officer with this department, how long have you been with the department?
I'm in my 10th year at the City of Waukesha.
To become a law enforcement officer, did you have to go through any kind of specialized training?
Yes, I attended a 720-hour basic law enforcement training while I was in the military. I was a military police in active duty for 4 years in the Air Force. At that time, I took a basic law enforcement academy, at which time when I became a officer for the City of Waukesha, completed a reciprocity exam certifying me in the state of Wisconsin.
And once you complete all of that training and you get sworn in as a law enforcement officer, do you have any kind of continuing education, whether you're on field training or even once you're off field training?
That's correct. Field training is a several-month process before you're working on your own as a patrol officer. We also have in-service 3 times a year, which is 2 days apiece. Those are all continuing topics, all sorts of law enforcement. As it pertains to this case, I did attend a 24-hour homicide investigation course, as well as other continuing education and trainings that are pertinent in this case.
And have you also assisted on other death investigations that your department has investigated as well?
Yes, I've worked previously on in assisting in an investigation for 4 previous homicides and approximately 25 to 30 previous death investigations over the years.
I'd like to direct your attention to October 30th of 2024. Were you on duty already on that date, or were you called in for a particular reason?
I was working on duty. I was working as a second shift detective assigned to our general detectives unit.
Where were you called to, what was the address of the scene you were called to investigate?
1512 East North Street in Waukesha.
And that's also in Waukesha County, Wisconsin?
That is correct.
Now, did both yourself and another detective, Detective Condon, go to that scene?
Yes, we did.
And did there come a time about an hour into this investigation where you were designated as the detective in charge?
That's correct. About an hour in, we realized we were not dealing with a simple death investigation based on the information we were gathering and what we were observing. At that time, I contacted the on-duty, my CID supervisor, Criminal Investigative Division supervisor, at which time he assigned me to be the lead detective.
What was the information you had as you were going to this scene before you realized this was something more?
The initial call came out over the radio, which we monitor while we're working in our workstation. The initial call indicated that somebody believed that they had located a body wrapped in a tarp under some sticks. So Detective Condon and I decided to go out and assist patrol with that response.
Were you present then when the medical examiner was called and then subsequently came to the scene?
Yes, I was.
Do you remember approximately how many hours you were on scene at this location?
I believe the initial call for service was shortly after 4 p.m. on that day, and we were out there until around 10:30 or 11 at night, so approximately 6 hours during the initial call.
When you arrive on scene, do you get a statement from a particular individual who was present?
Yes, I spoke to Glenda Rose, who was the building manager, and we heard from her on Monday.
And were you able to gather from her kind of the background information on how the remains on that footpath in the woods were discovered?
That's correct. She laid out for me who had located him and then how she was contacted. And then she shared with me information about a person that had not been seen from the apartment since about mid-April of 2024.
And was that individual Carlos Maldonado?
Yes, it was.
And did he reside in apartment 13 at that address on East North Street?
Yes.
Through this investigation, were you able to determine a date of death for Carlos Maldonado?
Yes.
And before we get to that, when you are on scene and you spoke with Ms. Rose already, are you also delegating any tasks, or are you keeping track of what's being done or what needs to be done, or how does that work if you're the lead detective?
It's a group effort. So if something has not been done that needs to be delegated and identified, I will assign somebody to do it. Otherwise, we work as a pretty good team in our criminal investigative division. So they will be letting me know, hey, I got this done, I got this done. So I'll be trying to keep track of the steps that have been done to that point.
While you were on the property, did you notice any trail cameras affixed to any trees in the backyard of the building, if you will, that's next to a hill?
Yes, I did. I located two, as we're walking around, two trail cameras that were affixed to trees. One was facing towards the parking lot of the building. Another one was kind of facing in the opposite direction towards a garden bed.
Did there come a time in your investigation where you found out that one of those cameras had originally been in the garage, but then moved to that garden area by the resident?
Yes, as the investigation progressed, while we were examining videos from those SD cards, a couple of the videos were showing a different camera angle, showing the inside of the garage, pointing out. And we had found, when interviewing Mr. Lefebvre, who owned those cameras, that he had moved them just kind of on a whim, if I remember correctly. So they had been repositioned certain times.
Madam Clerk, can you please turn on the screen for the witness, please? There we go. Detective Stern, I'm showing you what's marked as State's Exhibit 164. Do you see that on the top near the title of this PDF?
Yes, I do.
And is this a one-page document?
Yes.
And was this timeline prepared in anticipation of your testimony during this trial?
That's correct.
Did you compare all of the dates and the specific notations of what happened on that date to the reports in this case to ensure that it was accurate?
Yes, we did.
At this time, I would move Exhibit 164 into evidence and ask to publish to the jury.
Any objection to the admission of Exhibit 164
Yes, I do. I object.
based on?
Based on the fact that I'm not receiving a fair trial here and I have no way to properly counter this evidence.
All right, on that basis, the objection is overruled and the exhibit may come in as 164. Any objection to publication of the exhibit?
Of course I have.
Okay, the court is ruling that Exhibit 164 may be used as a demonstrative aid with the jury.
Okay, now Detective Stern, in the beginning, we had a presumptive identification that this individual we found in the woods was Carlos Maldonado, correct?
Based on the amount of times it was brought up during our initial investigation, when we first arrived on scene, the amount of times the residents who had come out and spoke with us brought him up, it was a possibility. But at that time, no, we didn't have we were not operating off of that until the medical examiner could do what they did to assist in identification.
You indicated that based on the number of times or the number of residents who had disclosed Mr. Maldonado's name, do you remember about how many different people advised that Mr. Maldonado had not been seen for a while?
Say 2 or 3. definitively remember Glenda because it was part of the statement that she initially gave me. I believe the building owner was present as well, also brought it up, and there may have been another person on scene that brought it up, but at least 2 or 3 people had brought up the fact that this was a missing person from this building, and they were hypothesizing themselves that that might be related to what they found in the woods.
And then those 2 or 3 people, neither of them were an individual by the name of Kevin Lychwick, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, when we look at this timeline here, starting at the beginning with April 13th of 2024, had Detective Barrent started doing a premise history and located a missing persons report of Carlos Maldonado.
Yes, she shared that with me.
And then when Detective Barrent went to speak with the family of Mr. Maldonado, we learned that the last time his daughter spoke with Mr. Maldonado was April 13th of 2024. Is that correct?
Correct.
Then the next thing we see on this timeline is the Home Depot surveillance. How did law enforcement know to go to that Home Depot to go to that Home Depot location in Delafield to try to obtain this surveillance?
As Detective Hallmark had testified, he had written a subpoena based on the Landmark Credit Union statements and located purchases there around that time. And I believe that a receipt was also located inside of Mr. Maldonado's apartment during the initial investigation as well. That was from around that time. So we knew that we wanted to check Home Depot to see if they still had any video from around that time that may show him there.
Then we learn the date that Ms. Maldonado had reported her father missing. Then we go to when the remains were discovered on October 30th. And then next we have the autopsy on November 1st of 2024. Is that correct?
Correct.
And then were you present during this autopsy?
Yes.
Why were you present at the autopsy?
The reason I was present during the autopsy is at this time we did not know a cause or manner of death. We did not know that this was a homicide, a suicide. We just didn't know. So the purpose of me going there, especially in this case where the remains were inside of the plastic and the tarp, I'm there to see if there's anything of evidential value and any determinations that the medical examiner could make immediately that would help us determine what we're possibly investigating.
When you were at the autopsy, did you have an opportunity to see each of the 4 ropes that were wrapped around Mr. Maldonado's remains removed and placed on those white sheets?
Yes.
And if we go back to exhibits 136 through 139, which have already been received, if we go to 136, this is the rope that was around Mr. Maldonado's head area. Is that right?
That is correct.
At the time, did you know if there was anything significant about the ropes that the medical examiner's office removed and laid out on these sheets?
The only thing significant at that time that stood out about the ropes was that somebody would have tied them around him after he was dead. He certainly didn't do it himself. So at that point we hypothesized that there was likely some sort of criminal nexus to this as the body was wrapped up and tied up.
And then if we go through 137, 138, and 139, we are seeing all the different areas in which these ropes were recovered from, right?
That's correct.
And is it fair to say that some of these ropes appear dirtier than other ropes?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we also learned from the medical examiner's office, and we heard testimony about the clothing that this individual was found wearing as when he was wrapped up in this tarp and this sheeting. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. If I go to exhibits 131 and 133. We'll start with 131. Now, we heard about this baseball cap that was located near Mr. Maldonado's feet in the black plastic sheeting area. Do you recall that?
I do.
So understanding that there is a lot of material on this hat here, does it appear to be a baseball cap?
Yes.
Have you seen a baseball cap before?
Yes.
And would you agree that they have more of a distinct appearance in terms of their shape?
Correct. The bill typically stands out on a baseball cap.
Now, even though there is a lot of material on this hat, are you able to make out what you believe to be the underlying or the original color of this baseball cap?
Yes. In these darker portions, I see it as a darker blue. That's what also my observations in person were. In person, we're able to move around the item, see different angles and lighting. This is a singular picture of it. But my observations during the autopsy as this was recovered was that underneath the material that the hat is covered in, it appeared to be a blue hat.
Now, if I then scroll to Exhibit 133, the shoes that were recovered from these remains, was there any significance to these shoes as it relates to the pattern that we can see on them?
Yes. As Detective Hallmark pointed out when we watched the Home Depot video where Carlos Maldonado was seen at Home Depot, the shoes appear to be very similar, if not the same, as in the Home Depot video. And that's noted by where the white sole meets the blue fabric of the shoe.
Were you also able to see in that Home Depot video what Mr. Maldonado was wearing in terms of a shirt and pants?
Yes. In the video, it appears that they are a dark blue or a dark color sweatpant. The shirt was a gray T-shirt.
Was there a T-shirt located inside the black sheeting and the tarp?
Yes, there was.
Were you able to tell the color of that T-shirt based on the condition in which it was in?
Not accurately. It was a dark, when we were observing it, it was darker. It could be consistent with gray, but it was also tainted by the tissue material from inside of the packaging.
Did you see any pants when you were present at the autopsy that were still on the remains?
Yes, I did.
And were you able to tell from looking at those pants, were they jeans or sweatpants or something else?
They were sweatpants.
Were you able to tell the color or the approximate color of them or not?
To me, they were a darkish blue sweatpant.
Okay. I'm pulling up on the screen what has previously been marked as State's Exhibit 59, and it has also already been published to the jury. Detective Stern, are we looking at here the Home Depot surveillance that Detective Hallmark talked about during this trial?
Yes, this is the surveillance from the Home Depot in Delafield on April 14th, 2024.
And when I press play here, is it fair to say that on the top left here, that's Mr. Maldonado?
Yes.
Okay. I will start playing from, it looks like the 1 second mark. Pausing then at 39 seconds. Now, Detective Stern, you are a little bit closer to a screen. I'm not sure how close the jury is to a screen, but can you point out for me any similarities between what you see Mr. Maldonado wearing and the exhibits that we just looked at from the autopsy photos?
Yes, the blue baseball cap, the sweatpants, the bluish color sweatpants, and the shoes, most notably the white sole and where it meets the blue fabric.
And we can see in Exhibit 59, the date and time stamp here of April 14th of 2024 at what looks like 10:19 a.m.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Now, we have this information. We have Ms. Maldonado, who was saying, I last talked to him on the 13th. We have Ms. Rose, who said she saw Mr. Maldonado the morning of April 14th cutting wood. Do you recall that?
I do.
And in this video here, were you able to corroborate that Mr. Maldonado was renting some sort of saw to cut wood?
Yes, receipts were recovered that showed that he had rented. We had seen that rental agreement earlier this week.
If we go back then to Exhibit 164, so we have the autopsy that's completed, and the next significant event in this investigation that we heard testimony about this week was Moxie's search of the property at 1512 East North. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, with that search occurring on November 19th, did you and to 1512 East North on November 20th of 2024?
Yes, the next day we went back to follow up on the canine hits to see if there's any other evidence that could be recovered, specifically the hit that she described at the top of the hill.
Now, when we're talking about that top of the hill, was that the photo we looked at where there were some squares with logs, or made in the shape of squares via logs, and it's kind of a clearing at the top up against wooded areas?
That's correct.
And there was a particular photo where Ms. Gumman put a line or circled the area in which she stated that Moxie gave a trained final response on. Do you recall seeing that?
I do.
And based on your experience with being at this property, when you were present for that trained final response, was that location further back against that wooded area?
Yes. From that location, I noted that you could almost not see the road anymore because of the trees as it went down. It was the furthest back secluded area on that property without actually going into the woods. The furthest back that it was clear.
Now, when I say, or when you talk about a grid search, what does that mean? What does that look like?
So a grid search is a systematic manner of search. In this case, we set up, it was approximately 25 feet by 12 feet in the area of that hit on the clearing. So that you've got a large 25 by 12 square, and within that square it's split up by multiple 3-foot by 5-foot squares. We then label those, and we use metal detectors and digging materials to systematically go square by square in an attempt to locate any physical evidence that may be in that area, just based on the that final train response from the dog.
After the grid search, did law enforcement recover anything of evidentiary value?
We did not locate any physical evidence after conducting that grid search up there.
While you did not locate any physical items, did you make any observations of the ground area up at the top of the hill?
Yes, nearby, the clearing was mostly flat at the top of the hill. However, nearby, and in the area where we were performing this grid search, I noticed 2 divots that were near each other. These divots were approximately 3 to 4 feet long and maybe 2 feet wide. It looked to me that somebody had possibly began digging, as if they wanted to dig a hole up there. However, I would not be able to say that definitively. The divots had grown vegetation and like brush growth, not brush, but grass, and it started growing over them. But there are 2 depressions that were up there. I also noted while we were doing the grid search that it was fairly easy to move the soil approximately 1.5 to 3 inches down, and then it got to be pretty solid clay-like material, and it was very difficult to dig through from there. Those divots were maybe about 12 to 18 inches deep.
those divots then, were there two, did you say?
There were two.
And were they right next to each other?
Yes.
Were there any other divots that looked like that anywhere else on the top of the hill in this clearing area?
Those were the only two in that area, and I did not note anywhere else on the property.
While you were at the top of this hill in that clearing area and in the very back where Moxie alerted, did you notice if there were any houses along that wooden tree line, kind of on the opposite side of that tree line?
Yes. Well, we noted at this point it's late fall, and the leaves have fallen, so you can see through, and there are houses lining back there. In Waukesha, it's Morey Street, Morey, and Palmer, Palmer. And we eventually went back there to follow up with any of those houses for cameras or potential witnesses.
When you followed up with those residents to see if there were any witnesses or cameras, were you able to locate anything that would have assisted you in this investigation?
No, we made contact with every house that would have had a line of sight, although we noted that in the springtime, when we know this crime to have occurred, the foliage would have been thicker, and therefore you would not be able to see through it as easily as we could in late November. But ultimately, no, there was no additional witnesses or cameras or clues out of that investigative step.
While this is ongoing, just in terms of your investigation progressing, is it fair to say that it takes a little while to investigate a homicide?
That's correct, especially when we are facing the time deficit. When we found out that this was about 6.5 months from the time of the crime to the time that the body was discovered, as several witnesses had already talked about, it is difficult to recover traditional evidence. So it takes time to develop some sort of lead and follow up on them.
And just because there's a gap, let's say, between the 1st and the 19th and the 19th through the 25th, that doesn't mean that you and your other officers were just sitting around the department not doing anything. Is that fair to say?
That's more than fair to say. We were working nearly 7 days a week in some capacity to continue this investigation. Now,
we talked earlier in your testimony about the trail cameras that had been put up by one of the residents, Mr. Lefebvre. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And as this investigation continues, and after Detective Fine had made that image copy of the 2 SD cards, were there a lot of videos on those SD cards?
Yes, there were 6.5 months worth of videos on those SD cards.
Now, was that then split up amongst the other detectives and CID to kind of share the load, and everybody took a batch of them?
Yes, it took a very long time and multiple people working a long time to review every one of those videos that were on the SD cards.
On or about November 25th of 2024, were you alerted by Detective Keppel that you needed to look at a particular date and time frame on these trail cameras?
Yes, he located several videos from May 2nd of 2024 that he found suspicious and wanted me to review with him.
And once we learned about these particular videos, did law enforcement go back to Mr. Lefebvre to see if he knew who was possibly the person on those trail cameras?
Yes, we had met with him and showed him the clip of the video and asked him the very open-ended question of, do you know who this is? He identified the person in the video, just like he did the other day, as Kevin Lychwick.
Now, you said you asked him an open-ended question. Why not just ask him and give a specific name?
That would be leading. We wanted to see if he could identify him just by looking at what we were looking at. We did not want to suggest to him a specific person. And also at that time, we didn't know who it was either. It was just somebody who was being suspicious. We figured, based on the videos, in these videos, you can see that person using a key to open the garage. And I knew from the amount of time that I spent there talking with Glenda as the manager on the property that the residents there had a physical key to open the garage door to the underground parking. In these videos, you'll see this individual use a key. So we believe that he was likely a resident there because he was using a key in these videos. And that's why we asked another resident, do you know who this person is?
Madam Clerk, can you turn on the screen just for the witness, please?
Yes.
Now, Detective Stern, while Mr. LaFave was testifying, we showed him various clips of these trail cameras that were identified by law enforcement and then shown to him. Do you recall that?
I do.
Now, those were marked as exhibits 66 through 74. But there are specifically exhibits 73 and 74 that I'd like to play with you first and ask you a few questions about them.
Okay.
Oops. First, this is marked as exhibit 73. And then exhibit 74.
We still have the timeline up, Attorney Thompson.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let's try this again. Exhibit number 73, and we see that on the top left. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And I'll play it for you from the beginning. And now, exhibit 74. Had you seen exhibits 73 and 74 during your investigation into what happened to Mr. Maldonado?
Yes.
Do you recognize the property that is shown in those two videos?
Yes, those are both depicting the parking lot area of 1512 East North Street in Waukesha.
And the person that we see on those videos, based on your observation of all of these videos, is that the same person that we saw in the earlier videos in exhibits 66 through 72?
Yes.
I would move exhibits 73 and 74 into evidence, please.
Any objection to the receipt of 73 and 74, Mr. Lychwick?
Yes, I strongly object, especially on the grounds that it makes me look suspicious and I was out on my own property, minding my own business.
All right.
There's nothing suspicious about that activity.
Taking that as a relevance objection, the court overrules that objection and will receive exhibits 73 and 74.
And Judge, the earlier exhibits I just mentioned were not all published to the jury, so I would ask permission, please, to publish 66 through 74.
66 was previously authorized for publication. 67 through 74, then, Mr. Lychwick, any objection to those videos being, hang on, any objection to those videos being played to the jury?
Yes, I object on the grounds that they tend to make me look suspicious because they've been built up to look that way.
Okay, on the same basis, then the court overrules the objections and the state may use those exhibits with the jury.
Now, first I have, I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, can you please turn on the screen for everyone? I'm sorry. Thank you. Now, Detective Stern, was this one of the first videos that you were directed to by Detective Keppel?
Yes.
And when we watch this video, I'll ask you at the end any particular observations you made as it relates to not only what the person was wearing, but also if you could see what this person was carrying. So I'll play from the 0-second mark. Oops. Okay. Now, when we watch Exhibit 66, first I want to start with, can you see a date and time stamp on this video?
Yes.
What is the date and time?
May 2nd, 2024, 0041 hours, which is 12:41 a.m.
what did you note about what this individual was wearing?
What I noted, what I note is the heavy boots. They appear to go up the ankle, dark color. They're large, heavy boots. The cutoff T-shirt appears to be some sort of pant and a hat. And then I noted the carrying. And if I could ask you to maybe go back to the 00 mark, you get a little better of a view here. There is what appears to be a white plastic bag and a black, some sort of material. The video quality is obviously not perfect, so it's hard to definitively say what those things are. But they appear to be some sort of plastic materials being carried out. There's also what appears to be a wooden handle with some sort of black material wrapped around the very end of it in the right hand.
Yeah, what's your objection?
He's making assumptions he doesn't even know what he's talking about here.
Okay, the witness was asked to interpret what he views on the video and is offering that opinion. You certainly have a right to cross-examine the witness on that point, so the objection's overruled. The answer will stand. Next question.
Thank you. Now, as we continue on in this investigation, and now we start looking at an individual named Kevin Lychwick as a potential suspect, do you ever locate items within his possession that look consistent with what you see on this trail camera video here?
Yes, eventually we do a search of his vehicle, which we'll likely discuss further. But during the search of the vehicle on December the 2nd, pursuant to a search warrant obtained for that search, we located a gravel shovel with a wooden handle that appeared to be cut down with black duct tape around the end. To me, that appears to match what we are seeing in the right hand on this particular video clip. There's also several black plastic sheeting, garbage bags, contractor bags that are located during that search that are consistent with what he's holding in his left hand.
Okay, in playing Exhibit 66 one more time, I'll have a question for you afterwards regarding the direction of travel of this individual, and based on your knowledge of the property, what areas this individual could have been walking towards. Okay, now, having watched Exhibit 66 then, what areas of the property are in the direction in which this person was walking?
So the way he's walking towards the northeast of the property. Remember, that property is kind of on an angle, cardinal direction-wise. From that video, if that person was to turn left, they would be going up the hill towards the clearing that we described. And if they were to turn right, but it's slightly off camera, that would be the footpath area where Carlos Maldonado was eventually discovered.
So both areas in that direction are significant in terms of this investigation with both Moxie's trained final response and the location of Mr. Maldonado's remains.
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Now, if, Madam Clerk, you could show the screen again for everyone, I'll move on to Exhibit 67, and I'm going to continue watching all of these videos with you as we go through the date and times and observations that you make, okay? Now I have 67, and I will pause and restart because it automatically starts playing. 66, so let's... Okay, now in Exhibit 67, what is the date and time here?
May 2nd, 2024, 0110, so 1:10 a.m.
If we compare the times of Exhibit 66 and 67, approximately 29 minutes are in between these two videos. Is that fair to say?
That is correct.
Now, when these videos were watched, were there any other videos in between?
Between 66 and 67, no. And as Mr. Lefebvre talked about with his Waze camera and what we found when we were reviewing the videos, they appear to be motion activated. There were several videos where a car driving on North Street may set it off. Sometimes branches blowing in the wind set it off. But in this case, there was no other videos that were created in between Exhibit 66 at approximately 12:40 a.m. and 1:10 a.m.
So this person in the video, who Mr. Lefebvre identified as Mr. Lychwick, does not come back from the direction of the top of that hill or that footpath where Mr. Maldonado was found for 29 minutes.
That's correct. There's no motion in front of the camera.
Object.
Is the objection?
Prosecution is maintaining that I used the footpath. There's nothing indicating that I used a footpath having to do with anything with the, having any connection with the victim's body.
All right, Mr. Lychwick, certainly you may cross-examine the witness on those inferences that he's drawing, but as far as the witness offering an opinion as to his interpretation of these videos, the objection is overruled.
Your Honor,
the answer
it's
may stand.
it's
Hang on, I'm
speculate-
not done ruling. The objection is overruled. The answer may stand. Mr. Lychwick, do you have something else?
It's speculation, Your Honor.
I'm overruling the objection on that as well. Attorney Thompson, next question.
Thank you. Now I will play Exhibit 67 with you, Detective Stern, from the beginning. Okay, with Exhibit 67, were you able to see if the person who had been identified as Mr. Lychwick was wearing anything on his hands?
Yes, in that video, you'll note that there appear to be black gloves on his hands.
Do you see that shovel anymore?
No.
What about the plastic sheeting or the darker item that he was carrying from Exhibit 66?
Nope. In this video clip, it doesn't appear that he's carrying anything back that we had seen in the previous clip.
Now, when Mr. Lychwick is going down those concrete steps that we see before the video stops, what do those steps lead to?
Those steps lead down to the overhead garage door, the one that would lead you into the underground parking area.
And outside of that parking area, is that the location where the key needs to be used by the resident in order to open that garage door?
That's correct. You'll note that it's like you'll see like a pole coming up, and that's where that physical key would be used to open that garage door.
I'm pulling up Exhibit 68, but I'll stop it and restart. Now, Detective Stern, the time and date stamp on this video in Exhibit 68, please.
May 2nd, 2024, 0111 hours, or 1:11 a.m.
Now, it's kind of blocked by Mr. Lychwick, or the person who was identified as Mr. Lychwick, but in front of him, is there that concrete slab with the pole?
Correct.
And does he continue to that specific location on the driveway?
Yes, he does.
And I'm playing 68 from the 0-second mark. Okay. Did you see that individual do anything with his shoes or his feet?
What I observed with that individual was kicking off both shoes using the concrete slab that that pole is attached to, kind of as a surface. To me, it appears that trying to kick something off of the shoes, the way you would clear off mud.
Also, on the right hip of that individual, did you notice anything in his hip area?
Yeah, on the right hip, there seems to be an L-shaped object. Seems to be some sort of holster attached to the right hip. And that's just something that was noticeable in all the videos from this date.
And are you able to tell with the quality of this video exactly what that item is on his hip?
No, from this quality video, I cannot tell exactly what that is.
Now, if we go to Exhibit 69, what is the date and timestamp on this one, please?
May 2nd, 2024, 0111 hours and a couple seconds. So it's sequentially from the last video that we watched.
Okay. And where this green square is that something we sometimes see when the camera is capturing the movement in which triggered it to start recording?
Yes, in this particular model of the camera, it does some motion tracking since it is motion activated. So you'll see a green square appear when there's movement.
Playing at the 0-second mark. Okay. Now if we go to Exhibit 70, sorry. Does this pick up where the last video left off?
Yes, May 2nd, 2024, 0111 hours, 19 seconds.
Playing at the 0-second mark. Oops, sorry. Does this person then go into, actually, strike that. The direction in which this person's walking, where would that be on the property?
They'd be walking into the overhead garage door for the underground parking area.
Now, Exhibit 71. Sorry. Going back then to the 0-second mark. Now, in looking at Exhibit 71, is this individual back here in where we initially saw this person walking in Exhibit 66?
That's correct, same area.
Okay, playing from the 0-second mark. Okay, I'm going to bring up Exhibit 71 again. What is the time on this video on May 2nd of 2024?
The time is 02:39 hours, so 2:39 a.m.
Attorney
And
Thompson, just to interrupt, sorry, was the rainbow static pattern a part of that video, or I just wanted to make sure it wasn't an error in playback on our system.
it was not. That
Thank you.
is part of the video, unfortunately.
You may continue.
Thank you. Now, Detective Stern, you said 2:39 a.m. Were there any other videos between Exhibit 70 and 71 after we see at the end of the last one where that individual went into the garage?
That I do not recall if there were any other videos. Like I mentioned earlier, I was informed and seen many videos where it's just a blowing branch or a car on the road. I don't recall between those two exhibits if there were any other videos or not.
Were you made aware of any other videos in between 70 and 71 that showed this same individual after he had entered the garage?
No, that I'm confident that there were no videos of the same individual that we're currently watching being in between 70 and 71.
So now between 1:11 a.m. where we see this person go into the garage and 2:39 a.m. when we now see that person walking back in the same direction we first saw them, this individual is not out and about on the property that you can see from these cameras.
No.
So I will play Exhibit 71 from 0. Did that person have anything in his hands that you could tell?
Not in that video, no.
If we move on to Exhibit 72 then. Going back to the 0-second mark. Now, I know this is the same date of May 2nd of 2024, but what is the timestamp on this video?
02:47 hours, 2:47 a.m.
And is this the same person that we've been seeing in all of these other videos so far in the morning hours of May 2nd?
Yes, based on the clothing and the walk, yes, I believe it's the same person that we've been watching in all these clips.
Okay. Then playing from the 0-second mark. Okay, so between 2:39 a.m. and now 2:47 a.m., there's no one in between except when this person goes back in that direction, in the northeast direction, and when he comes back. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Did you see that person have anything in his hands?
In this last video clip, no, there's nothing in the hands.
But did you see this individual do something different than we've seen so far in the other exhibits?
Yes, I noted that he peeks into that back door, as described by someone.
Object.
What's the objection?
He's assuming something that was not true. I was looking to see if I wanted to take the stairs for exercise or not, and I decided to go down through the garage. He's
Okay,
making it
Mr.
sound like I
Lychwick.
was window spying or something.
Mr. Lychwick, if you're going to raise an objection, it has to be a legal argument objection, not a factual testifying to the jury. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, disregard the defendant's comments about what he said he was intending to do there. The objection is overruled. The answer may stand. The witness was asked to provide his interpretation of what was being shown, and that is what he did. Attorney Thompson, next question.
Now pulling up Exhibit 73. What is the timestamp on this video?
0247, 2:47 a.m. in 56 seconds.
Picking up where Exhibit 72 left off?
Correct.
I will continue playing from the 0-second mark. Now, what direction do we see this individual going at the end of exhibit number 73?
So the video cuts out. That is the extent of that video. Does not continue. However, if that individual was to continue walking straight in the direction he was going, it would be very nearby where Mr. Maldonado's body was located.
Objection.
What's the objection?
He has no proof. He has no idea where I was headed to exactly. That direction leads to the driveway.
The objection is noted. It's an objection about interpretation of the witness's testimony. The objection is overruled. The witness's answer will be allowed to stand. If you have questions on cross-examination, you may explore that then. Attorney Thompson.
Now moving on to Exhibit 74. What is the timestamp on Exhibit 74?
Same date of May 2nd, 2024. It's now 04:13 hours and 41 seconds. 4:13 in the morning.
Is this the next video from the end?
Objection.
Hang on. Let the question be asked first. What's the question?
The Exhibit 74, is that the next video after Exhibit 73 where we see this individual that we've been watching at various times the morning of May 2nd?
All right. What's your objection, Mr. Lychwick?
The Detective Stern's response, his heightened demeanor, 4:30 in the morning, as though there's something wrong with the time that I was out. There is no curfew. There is no martial law in this town.
All right, Mr. Lychwick, I'm going to stop you there. Your objection was to Detective Stern's response to the last question. It's up to the jury to determine the witness's demeanor and credibility based upon his demeanor. That's a matter for the jury. It's not a reason for the detective's statement to get stricken from the record. The rest of your arguments are not relevant to admissibility of the detective's answer. So for those reasons, the answer will stand. Attorney Thompson, you've asked your next question. Detective Stern, do you remember that question and you can answer it, or would you like it repeated?
Could you please repeat your question?
I can. This individual that we've been watching all morning in various videos, between Exhibit 73 at I think it was 2:47 or 2:49 a.m. to now Exhibit 74 where we see this person again at 4:13 a.m. Are there any other videos where we see this person in these areas on the property?
Between the last clip we watched and this clip, there are no other video clips showing this person.
When 74 is paused where it is at the 0-second mark, does this person now have items in his hands?
Yes, appears to be some sort of black bundle. Can't tell definitively what it is, but he now has items in the hand.
I will play.
Objection.
What's your objection?
So what? So I have something in my hands at this time.
Okay, Mr. Lychwick, that's a relevance objection. The objection is overruled. The answer is relevant to what's being decided today, so that objection is overruled. Attorney Thompson, your next question.
I was going to play Exhibit 74 from the 0-second mark.
Go ahead.
In looking at Exhibit 74, once that individual kept walking, were you able to see anything in the left hand?
Yes, appears to be a white plastic bag with something inside of it.
Are you able to see from the quality of this camera what exactly was inside that plastic bag in his left hand?
No, I can't.
Is that the first time then from 12:41 a.m. to 4:13 a.m. that we see this individual with those items in his hands that look like the white plastic bag or the black object?
That's correct. In between, as we saw the clips in between, he didn't have those things. So those were the two timestamps where we see those items in the videos.
Now, we've reviewed all of these videos. We've spoken with Mr. Lefebvre. We have his identification of who he thinks the person is in those videos in Exhibits 66 through 74. Now, the following day, on November 26th of 2024, does your department execute a search warrant on Mr. Lychwick's residence?
Yes, based on that identification and the activity that we viewed in those videos, we obtained a search warrant, which was approved by a judge here in Waukesha County, to search Mr. Lychwick's apartment.
Because law enforcement can't just walk into someone's apartment because they want to take a look around. Is that fair to say?
That's correct. It would be a violation of their rights.
Now, Madam Clerk, if you could just turn on the screen in front of the witness, please. I am showing you what is marked as State's Exhibits 215 through 219. It's a total of 5 pages, and I would just ask that you follow along as I scroll through them. Do you recognize the scene in these photos?
Yes, those are photographs that were obtained during the November 26, 2024 search of Mr. Lychwick's apartment.
And prior to this point, had you met Mr. Lychwick in person?
No.
As part of your law enforcement duties, when you are applying for a search warrant, do you also have to include a basis for believing that that apartment belongs to that individual?
Yes.
Now, had you seen any kind of photo of Mr. Lychwick prior to this search warrant process? Or during the search warrant process, did you look up a photo of him to know what he looked like?
We were able to look up a Department of Transportation, so your driver's license photograph. We were able to look up that as part of the preparation for this search warrant.
And then you were able to confirm that he is the resident of apartment 11 at 1512 East North Street?
Yes, that was based on Department of Transportation records for the driver's license, as well as in-house records. We had previous contacts with him where he had listed that as his apartment prior to this investigation.
I would move Exhibits 215 through 219 into evidence and ask to publish to the jury.
You said 215 to 219?
Correct.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to the admission of those photographs?
Yes, I have objections to the admission of these photographs.
What's your objection?
I object because because this whole case against me is not correct, is false.
All right, based on that, the objections are overruled. Exhibits 215 to 219 are admitted.
May I please publish to the jury?
Any objection to publication, Mr. Lychwick?
Of course I object.
The exhibits may be published.
Now, starting with Exhibit 215, is this, what is this photo?
This is the front door of apartment number 11.
And then 216, what are we looking at here in this photo?
This is the kitchen area and kind of a dining room area inside of apartment number 11.
In Exhibit 217, what, if anything, does this remind you of in terms of this investigation?
When looking at this photograph, I note the dark duct tape on the black plastic sheeting over that object, and it reminds me of the tape that is seen on the black sheeting during the autopsy of Mr. Maldonado.
218, what are we looking at here?
It's the living room area of apartment number 11.
And 219, what is that?
It's also the living room area. Most notably, this is what Detective Skolton and Detective Bauer had previously described as the makeshift desk area in apartment number 11.
And what was the significance of their search of this desk area in the living room of apartment 11?
This is where they located the folders that contained the notes that had Carlos Maldonado's name on them and these list of operations.
I object.
What's your objection?
That is not true. It has not been proven that I wrote those notes or had anything to do with them or that they were actually ever in my apartment.
Okay, again, I'll ask the jury to disregard any statements by the defendant about introduction of his evidence. Based on that objection, the court will overrule it and the answer will be allowed to stand.
Also in the apartment, we saw photos in Exhibits 88, 89, and 90 that were previously admitted and published to the jury, where we found a chair that had several ropes tied around it. Do you recall that?
I recall viewing that, yes.
Okay. If I pull up Exhibit 88 then, Exhibit 89, and 90. Having reviewed those, do you have in front of you at the witness stand Exhibits 145 and 145A?
Yes.
And are those the ropes that we see in these exhibits 88 through 90?
Yes, these are the ropes collected after these photographs were taken.
What, if any, significance to you as a law enforcement officer in this investigation do those ropes have?
Well, to me, again, I was present at the autopsy. I saw what came off of the packaging. I saw what was inside that packaging. To me, this rope bears extreme resemblance to the rope that was around the packaging that Mr. Maldonado was found in.
Madam Clerk, can you please turn on the screen just for the witness? During your investigation, had you learned that the individual, Kevin Lychwick, preferred to be called Conrad?
Yes. Again, speaking with various individuals as the investigation continued, several people referred to him as...
I object.
What's your objection?
Why does the use of the name that I've been using for over 40 years have anything to do with the relevance of this case? It's my choice to be called what I wanted to. The fact that I never got to court to legally change my name is irrelevant in this case.
So it's a relevancy objection to this. Attorney Thompson, what's the relevancy?
The relevance is that Mr. Lychwick preferred to be called Conrad, and certainly when we start going through his Gmail returns, Conrad is included in the Gmail account. So I'm also laying the foundation for those returns as we go through them.
Very well. Then the objection is overruled on relevance grounds. The answer may continue. I know the objection came mid-answer, so Detective, if you wanted to continue your answer, you may.
As we were talking to people around the apartment, they referenced him as Conrad, and that's how we referenced him. Obviously, we found the legal name through the Department of Transportation records. However, Conrad was the name he preferred to use.
Was Mr. Lychwick home when this search warrant was executed on his apartment on November 26th of 2024?
Yes, he was.
And did you and Detective Barron stay outside in the inner stairwell area with Mr. Lychwick while officers were searching his apartment?
That's correct. Myself and Detective Barron stood by with him in the common area on the second floor landing while other detectives and officers executed the search warrant.
Were you wearing a body camera when you were sitting with Mr. Lychwick out in that hallway area?
Yes.
Madam Clerk, can you turn on the screen just for the witness, please? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. If I were to pull up here, exhibit number, actually I'd like to go through with you exhibits 178 through 180. And now, when you are out there in that hallway with Mr. Lychwick, does he have any conversations with you about an interest in German history?
Yes. Our conversation, we did not discuss the investigation while the search was being completed. So we had various small talk conversations. During that time, he shared with us that he likes to attend social meetings at a bar called the Eck Bar, and he explained the German heritage and the German theme of that bar. He talked to us about traveling back and forth to Germany as a child when he was younger. He spoke with several German words during that time and explained to him, and overall it was a cordial conversation about several different topics, but specifically his connection and interest in Germany was one of those topics.
And when you look back at...
What's your
I
objection?
don't see what relevance this has to this homicide investigation.
That objection is overruled. The answer may stand. Next question.
When you look back on this conversation and consider it in the context of items found during this search warrant in Mr. Lychwick's apartment, did his interest in Germany become very relevant to your investigation?
Yes, when viewed through the context of the German phrases used in the notes that were located in his apartment, in light of the weapon that we heard, fired the rounds that killed Mr. Maldonado, that being a German manufactured firearm, that is where the relevance to me of his interest and his knowledge about Germany, history, and German culture becomes relevant.
Object.
What's your objection?
Prosecution has no proof that the weapon belongs to me.
Okay, Mr. Lychwick, that is a matter for the jury to ultimately decide. The objection's overruled. Next question.
Now, did there also come a time during this conversation with Mr. Lychwick where he referenced an individual that he knew in the state of Minnesota?
Yes, he spoke about what he described as a former girlfriend, that they had broken up, and that she lived in Minnesota.
And did that conversation then become relevant to one of the operations notes that you located in Mr. Lychwick's apartment?
Yes, one of the individuals that's listed on the operations note was this female that he described living in Minnesota.
In a moment, on the screen in front of you, did you review portions of that body camera that you were wearing during this conversation with Mr. Lychwick prior to your testimony today?
Yes.
And as part of preparation for your testimony, did you prepare portions of that body cam that show the conversation about Germany and this individual he knew in Minnesota?
Yes.
And exhibit 178 in front of you here, do you see it's paused at the 0-second mark? Do you know who that person is that it shows?
The person in the video is Kevin Lychwick. And
on the top right-hand corner of this body cam, is there a time and date stamp?
Yes, November 26, 2024, 10:09 a.m. This is the body camera that I was wearing during the execution of that search warrant.
And exhibit number 179 then 5. We'll skip that one for now until it decides to load. But then Exhibit 180 as well. Do you recognize, it's paused at the 1 second mark, but do you recognize the individual it shows?
Yep, this is a continuation of the same video from my body cam. That's Kevin Lychwick on the video.
And same date of November 26th of 2024.
Correct, with a timestamp of 10:19 a.m.
Objection.
What's the objection?
Again, so what?
Right.
Relevance.
Relevance, that objection is overruled. The answer stands. You may continue.
Thank you. Now, do you see Kevin Lychwick in court today?
Yes.
Can you please identify him by where he is seated and an article of clothing he's wearing?
Yes, he is seated at the defense table. He's wearing a green jacket.
I would ask the record to actually strike that. I understand how the court has responded in the past, so I apologize. Now, I'm going to try Exhibit 179 one more time, and it does not appear to be working. So I will work on that, but in terms of Exhibit 178 and 180, I would move to admit those and ask to publish to the jury.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to the admission of 178 and 180?
Yes, I have an objection to the admission of those as evidence. They are not evidence. Those are simple, common, ordinary knots and common, ordinary rope used to make a makeshift easy chair.
We're talking about the body camera videos that show the conversation with you and Detective Stern in the hallway. Do you have an objection to the admission of those?
I sure do, because it belongs to this case, which is a travesty of justice.
All right. Again, Mr. Lychwick, I am not going to allow you to editorialize about the trial. Your objections are overruled. Exhibits 178 and 180 are in evidence. As to publication, Mr. Lychwick, are you objecting to the use of those exhibits with the jury?
Of course I am.
The court will overrule those objections and allow the exhibits to be played with the jury.
Madam Clerk, if you could please turn on the screen for everyone. I will start with exhibit number 178. And I'll play the first 5 seconds or so just to make sure that the audio is working appropriately. Okay. Now I can hear it on the courtroom speakers. Is this the area, the landing of the steps that you sat with Mr. Lychwick in for the duration of the search warrant?
Yes.
Okay, I'm playing exhibit 178. It is 2 minutes and 11 seconds long, and it starts at, according to the timestamp on the body cam, 10:09 a.m. and 31 seconds.
I object.
What's your objection?
This was not given to me in discovery.
That is
Attorney
incorrect.
Thompson, we've made a record about discovery being provided to the defense previously. That is not an objection for trial. That's been settled. On that basis, the objection is overruled. The exhibit may be played.
You said you go to a bar for like a monthly thing. What's that about?
I'm in a social club.
Oh, cool.
It's my event. We call it a lunch. So I created this event trying to meet people and stuff. And so you hang out, you pick a place where you're going to meet and so forth. So I spent a lot of time in Germany. So I picked this little German bar out in West Dallas. And so we're getting together there, but it's really kind of small and too loud. So we were going to switch to another bar now. That place was really crowded. But the bartender was a very nice girl, and she was the one that told me about the TikTok. Yeah, we saw you on TikTok.
Which bar is it?
It's called the Eck Bar. It's German for corner bar.
Okay.
But it's not what Germans call the corner bar. It's typical somebody trying to get their own English translation.
Oh.
The Germans call a small, it's really a pub, and the Germans call a small pub a Kneipe. They use a lot of K-N words.
Okay, how do you say it?
K-N-E-I-P-E.
Okay.
Kneipe. So it's really a Kneipe.
Okay.
But they call it the Eck Bar. So the Eck in German is corner. So
Okay, so they put their English translate, they put it into Google Translate, and they got it.
Yeah, that's probably where she did the owner and everything. But walls are full of, you know, trinkets and things from Germany that the local population around the area who used to go there, and now have gotten real old or died off, and they don't go there anymore. Have left on the walls, and they all contribute something, steins and things like that.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's heavily centered on Bavaria, so they have the checkered blue flag flying with the German flag and our flag.
Okay.
And then we were all laughing because somebody tacked a small American flag onto the German flag. I think they taped it on there.
Come on.
Well, that's, I suppose, you know, it's America's.
Yeah, well.
Now, when you were testifying earlier, explaining the different parts of this investigation, had you also clipped a particular conversation where Mr. Lychwick was explaining growing up in Germany or traveling to Germany?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Then in Exhibit 180, which has already been received, I think I asked published, but I'll double check.
You did.
Okay, thank you. Now, are we going to hear about the conversation about this individual in Minnesota?
Yes, I believe so in this clip.
Okay. Starting at the 0-second mark, and this clip starts at 10:19:42 per the timestamp on the body cam.
I have to.
Well, thanks for breaking the rule.
In the dating apps and so forth, I try not to say that.
All right.
If they see you're in your 60s, they don't really look at you anymore.
Really?
I date the younger crowd.
You did say you had a girlfriend in her 20s
Yeah.
recently, right?
Yeah, she just turned 22 this October.
Okay.
I don't know why we broke up. She should be here with me.
Okay.
Good person.
She was just wonderful. She was awesome.
And you said, did you guys end up meeting through like the online dating app, or yeah?
Age didn't matter to us at all. Just get some static from people now and then, you know.
You get static, but again, you're not. She's not 12. She's 22.
Right.
She's an adult. You know.
Well, she just turned 19 when we met.
Okay.
Okay.
And she was ready in college. She had a nice place. She was like going on 42.
Okay.
object to
When did you guys break up?
Just pause the video, please. What's the objection?
They're making me look like a cradle robber or something. This is irrelevant to this investigation.
All right, I believe the state has already introduced the relevance by setting up the foundation through the detective. The exhibit has already been admitted without objection, or over the objection, I believe. The court has already allowed it to be published, and based upon what's been displayed so far and relating back to the reason for playing this that the state introduced, I'll overrule the relevance objection and allow it to be played. You may continue.
I'm sorry, I paused it for the objection at 1:15, and I am resuming play there.
I can't tell you why. It was just, I don't know, my friends think it was all the driving. She's in Minnesota,
Oh.
north central Minnesota, so we were driving back and forth, which is really the main reason why I got the Kia downstairs, the Kia Forte.
Yeah.
So we could be together. And the gas mileage is really burning. It's just, it was 358 miles one way, so she was coming here and we were going there, home for school and her job and stuff.
What does she do?
She works now, she's working, the last I heard, she's working at Starbucks.
Okay.
She's getting pretty good tips and everything, and then for a while she was working at the community college studying welding. And I'm so glad she dropped out of that. She's just an old woman. She almost had a 110-pound saving tank fall on her.
Oh wow.
I know.
That's
She
bad.
threw her back out, so I was working on her back. I was so worried about her. Finally, she just pulled the plug on that. She said, I'm through.
You can make some.
Okay. Exhibit 180, I'm sorry, Judge, that was a total of 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Now, Detective Stern, when we hear this information about the person in Minnesota, on one of the notes located in Mr. Lychwick's apartment, is there an operation that is connected to an individual in Minnesota?
Object.
What's the objection?
There was no note like that found in my apartment. I don't know what they're talking about. This is ridiculous.
Okay, again, I'll ask the jury, or I'm instructing the jury to disregard the defendant's statements about evidence. The objection's overruled on that basis. The witness may answer.
Can you repeat the question again,
I
please?
can. Now, after watching Exhibit 180, was there a connection during this investigation you were able to make between a note recovered from Mr. Lychwick's apartment referencing an individual in Minnesota and the person being referenced in Exhibit 180?
Yes, on one of the notes that were recovered in his apartment during the November 26th search warrant, there is reference to an individual that I believe he was talking to us about in that clip, that she lives in central Minnesota, as he said.
Now, moving on then to the notes that were recovered from Mr. Lychwick's apartment. I think we heard from Detective Skolton that there was a large amount of paperwork that was seized and then brought back to the City of Waukesha Police Department for additional review. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Now, were there two notes in particular that were of value to you in this investigation?
Yes,
Do you see Exhibit 146 in front of you at the witness stand?
I do.
And can you remind us what Exhibit 146 is?
146 is what we have been calling an operations note. This was located in that makeshift desk area during this search warrant. Lists out 4 different operations, the first of which says Operation Slop Shop and names Carlos Maldonado.
And I'll pause you there. I believe Exhibit 146A was previously received, but I cannot remember if I published, so I would ask the court if I can do that now as Detective Stern is reviewing 146.
146A was received and was used with the jury already.
Thank you. Okay, now in front of you, you have the physical note that you are talking about here with Operation Slop Shop. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And 146A is a copy of that. Is that accurate?
Oh, I'm sorry, 146A is on the screen. Yes, that is a photograph of it.
Okay, now if you could please tell me as we go through this, what is the title, if you will, of this note?
The first thing that I note there is targets identified.
And does it give a date range?
Targets for 2023 to 2024, November 2023 through 31 January 2024.
Is there an actual stamp with the date on it?
Yeah, there seems to be a stamp on there, or there is a stamp on there, November 26, 2023.
If we go to the first operation, listed as number 1 here, can you read that for the jury, please?
Yes. Operation Slop Shop, Carlos Maldonado and connected subjects and threats from this operation.
I object.
What's your objection?
This is not my document. I don't even know what a slop shop is. I have no connection to this document. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what he's talking about.
Mr. Lychwick, this objection is untimely. Exhibit 146A has already been received into evidence. You may continue, Attorney Thompson.
Now, as we continue on this particular note in 146, is there a second operation titled Operation Starling?
Yes.
And is there anything about Operation Starling that references Operation Slop Shop?
In another document related to Operation Starling, there's another 2 more references to Operation Slop Shop.
Okay, is that in front of you marked as Exhibit 147?
Yes, it is.
Okay, now Exhibit 147, is it currently wrapped in plastic?
Yes.
And is there also another folder in there with a piece of paper on top of it?
Yes.
Okay, and before we show that to the jury, is this that second operation, or the second letter that we're talking about here that had evidentiary value to you that was recovered from Mr. Lychwick's apartment?
Yes.
And it's a fair and accurate depiction, and in fact, it's the original that was recovered from his apartment during the search warrant on November 26th?
Exhibit 147 is the original that was recovered on November 26th from his apartment.
I would ask that...
Object.
What's your objection, Mr.
Assumes
Lychwick?
evidence. This is an assumption. It was not found in my apartment.
All right. The objection is overruled. That is something for the jury to determine. Attorney Thompson?
I would ask that Exhibit 147 be received.
It already has been.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
But it has not been previously published to the jury.
Okay, thank you. Now, Detective Stern, if you could hold that up in front of you, Exhibit 147.
Are you asking to publish it?
May I please publish?
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to the publication of 147?
I sternly object.
Okay. The court will allow 147 to be published and used with the jury.
Thank you. Detective Stern, can you please hold up Exhibit 147? Is there, to your knowledge, a backside to the note?
Yes, there is.
Is there anything on the backside of the note that was particularly relevant to the investigation here?
Not particularly. It was a couple acronyms that appeared to be scribbled down.
Okay. Now, Madam Clerk, can you please turn on the screen in front of just the witness? I am going to place on the screen for you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 182. Is this a 2-page document?
Yes, it is.
Do you recognize Exhibit 182?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
This is a document that kind of takes my translation of these letters based on the handwriting. It took some time to interpret what was on there. So basically, we created this document so that you could read it without trying to read the handwriting on the original note.
Okay. Was this exhibit, Exhibit 182, prepared in anticipation of your testimony in this trial?
Yes.
And is this exhibit detail your translations that you put in your supplement report regarding this investigation?
Yes.
And did you go through Exhibit 182 and compare it to your report to ensure that there was accuracy to these translations that you discussed?
Yes, I did. They're both the same.
And would reviewing Exhibit 182 as we go through these photos assist you in the translation and in remembering how you put together the sentences, if you will, and the messages in these notes?
Yes, it would.
I would ask that Exhibit 182 be admitted into evidence.
Any objection, Mr. Lychwick?
I heartily object.
Okay, Attorney Thompson, is 182 a summary or demonstrative aid for both 146 and 147?
It is, yes.
Okay, so both 146 and 147 are contained on 182?
That is correct.
You mentioned, Attorney Thompson, that there is some text on the backside of 147, which is in a sealed envelope, so not readily accessible without breaking the seal. Is any of that text on 182?
It is, yes. So I will be asking Detective Stern to open that plastic seal.
Okay, I just want to make sure that if the jury were to want to compare the original writings with the summary, they would have access to all of 147.
Yes, they will.
Okay. Over the defense objection, then, I will allow 182 to be received as a demonstrative aid.
Okay. Now, may I please publish 182 with the jury as I go through the note with Detective Stern?
Any objection, Mr. Lychwick, to publication of 182?
I heartily object.
Okay. The court will allow 182 to be used with the jury.
Okay. let me try to set up this screen here first. Oops. I'll go back to 146A. We will start there. And then, okay, now Detective Stern, can you see exhibits 182 and 146A side by side?
Yes, I can.
Okay, now as we continue going through exhibit 146A, we've already referenced Operation Slop Shop and explained that. Now, for the second operation of Operation Starlane, when we talk about or move down to phase 2, is there an individual there named Raven Tanya Frederick?
Yes.
Okay. Were you able to connect this person to Mr. Lychwick and to the state of Minnesota?
Yes, that individual lives in the state of Minnesota and had a previous romantic relationship with Mr. Lychwick.
And through the investigation, in terms of digital evidence that we'll talk about later, did you also see this name in those items?
Several times.
Object.
What's your objection?
He's saying that he saw her name in these documents that were not created by me. He put them there. I had nothing to do with this.
Mr. Lychwick, the objection's overruled. Whether or not the documents are tied to you is a matter for the jury to ultimately determine. This witness is stating that he recovered these documents during the search warrant in your apartment, and that's the extent of the conclusion he's drawing. So for that reason, the objection is overruled.
Got it. Okay, then as we continue reading in Exhibit 146A, is there a backside to the 146 exhibit you have in front of you on the witness stand?
Yes, this is the front and this is the back.
Okay, now when we're looking at Exhibit 182, does that continue on with the backside of the front of Exhibit 146?
Yes, the number 3 and 4 are copies of what is on the back of Exhibit 146.
Okay, now those two operations that are on the back of Exhibit 146, can you flip that in front of you?
Yes.
Are, specifically in Operation 4, are there two names under that operation? Are there two names under that operation?
Yes.
What are those names?
Lychwick Kurt P. and Arlene J. Lychwick.
Now, in terms of when we're assessing who this note belongs to, are those two individuals, were you able to figure out who they are?
Yes.
And who are they?
That's his younger brother and his mother.
Is there also in Operation 3 a name of an individual that you determined to be a real person throughout your investigation?
Yes.
Were you able to determine a connection between Mr. Lychwick and this person?
Yes, previous romantic relationship.
Now, if we move to Exhibit 147, which you should have in front of you, and if you could please go ahead and open Exhibit 147.
Is there a pair of scissors that was up here?
Oh, I'm sorry. Madam Clerk, may I borrow? Thank you. I'm sorry, I forgot they were returned.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, now, as we go through exhibit number 147, this second letter, are there references to Operation Slop Shop in letter number 2 or exhibit 147?
Yes, there are two on this side of Exhibit 147.
And that folder that is also in the bag with exhibit 147, or with the note, excuse me, I'm sorry, was this note found in that folder?
Yes.
Is there a name on that folder?
Yes.
What is the name?
Raven Frederick. Also, it says Roland Richard.
Now, does page 2 of exhibit 182 then assist you with reading exhibit 147?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Now, if I go down to page 2, what is the, how does the letter start?
Operational, I believe it says service, but I put it in a bracket because I was not entirely sure. So operational service for 2023-2024. 4 main targets centering on attacking. Stay focused on the mission momentum.
I object.
What's your objection?
The detective isn't even sure what he's talking about again.
Okay, ultimately, the jury will decide what these exhibits say. The Exhibit 182 has been allowed in as a demonstrative exhibit to assist the witness in testifying and to assist the jury, but it's the jury's determination ultimately as to what these letters contain. The objection is overruled. The witness may continue.
With this demonstrative, are there other areas of this letter where you put either words or blank spaces in brackets?
Yes.
Is that because that's what the note reflects, or is that also an area in which you are not entirely sure because of the difficulty in reading what it says?
The brackets are not on the note. The parentheses are on the note and reflect what is here. However, the brackets were me making a note of either a or my inability to read it, or perhaps it was a foreign language word, or in some of the brackets I also just denote that, I figured out what the word was. It was in German, so I just kind of put what the translation was.
Okay. Now, then after it talks about...
Objection.
What's your objection?
He says he's not even sure. He says he's kind of sure.
Okay.
Kind of sure. This is my life we're talking about here. I object to the way he's wording this and claiming that this was found in my apartment and everything.
Mr. Lychwick, again, I am not going to allow you to editorialize. You can state your objection, which you have based on the objection you stated. I'm overruling the objection. This exhibit is already in. The jury is to determine the weight to give to this witness's testimony and the weight to give to this exhibit, if any, and that's a jury determination. The objection's overruled. The witness may continue.
Now, after we talk about staying focused on the mission, does this letter then start discussing Operation Starling?
Yes.
And what is the first reference in Operation Starling to Operation Slop Shop?
It's located here. It says, need to execute Operation Slop Shop. Need momentum, push, money/financing, equipment, vehicles, arms, restraints, plastic materials, etc.
In particular, underneath the heading of obstacles to operation, is there, or can you read what those 3 obstacles are?
Again, on the original, that's located right here. Secrecy in entering and movement in and around Minnesota without leaving a footprint. Funds for operation need approximately $12,000. Disposal of rotten meat and staging area.
Did there come a time in this investigation where you were reviewing records, electronic records belonging to Mr. Lychwick that referenced carcasses?
Yes.
And is rotten meat generally a carcass?
I think that's a fair example.
Okay. Now, when we continue further down the letter in Exhibit 147 with you on the witness stand, is there a portion that's written in either it's darker or a different colored font? Is there a paragraph that stands out to you at the bottom of this letter?
Yes, the bottom of this letter, it's a darker ink, and there's a paragraph there.
What does that paragraph say?
This operation can commence since Operation Slop Shop is completed. Funds and reparations have been seized from Slop Shop for Starling, and all threats from the first stop have been neutralized.
Madam Clerk, can you turn on the screen, please, just with the witness? Now, in terms of these letters, they were both found in Mr. Lychwick's apartment. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
I object.
What's your objection?
They were not found in my apartment. Those are not
Mr.
my
Lychwick,
letters.
I'm not going to warn you anymore. You cannot editorialize. You cannot try to introduce testimony or evidence. You state a legal basis for your objection, and I'll rule on that. Your objection is overruled. The testimony will stand. Next question.
From your research, did Mr. Lychwick live alone?
Yes.
Carlos Maldonado, is that the individual who lived right next door to him in this apartment building?
Yes.
Were there other references in these electronic records we'll go through where it appears that Mr. Lychwick had been searching Carlos Maldonado's name?
Yes.
Are there German references throughout both of these notes?
Yes.
And we watched those two recordings where Mr. Lychwick discussed German history and was kind of talking about that to you and Detective Barron. Is that correct?
Correct.
When we talk about those electronic searches later on, an individual named Raven, does that person show up in those searches?
In the electronic records, yes.
And then from the first page in Operation 4, Kurt and Arlene, you indicated there is a relation between them and Mr. Lychwick. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, in looking at what I'm about to pull up as Exhibit 92, was Mr. Lychwick's cell phone seized as part of this search warrant that was executed on November 26th of 2024?
Yes.
And were you the one that then requested Detective Fine perform an extraction of that phone and create a forensic image that you could then view?
Yes.
Okay, Attorney Thompson, I'm going to take a break at this time.
That's a
We've been
good
at it
breaking
for a
point.
while. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a bathroom break and stretch break for about 10 minutes. I remind you again, please do not discuss this case amongst yourselves.
All rise, jury.
You may be seated. We are outside the presence of the jury. Mr. Lychwick, I've cautioned you already on the record. I'll caution you again. I'm not going to further allow any more editorializing or your attempts to testify in front of the jury. Frankly, Mr. Lychwick, what you're doing, I want you to really pause and reflect on the statements you're making, because essentially you're connecting yourself to a lot of this evidence by raising objections and trying to testify to the jury. So I'm not going to allow that anymore. If you have an objection to make, you can state objection. You can state a legal basis if I ask for it, and that's it. No more testimony. Understand? All right. Anything else from the state before we break?
No, thank you.
Mr. Lychwick, anything else before we break?
Again, this whole trial is a travesty, and I object to it. This case should have been dismissed 8 months ago due to tainted evidence. There's a presence of tainted evidence in this case.
Your
It's not
objection's
been
noted.
properly investigated, and furthermore,
The appearances are the same. Standby counsel is still present as well. Attorney Thompson, where are we at in terms of timing here?
I would say probably another half hour,
Okay.
but I will definitely I'm more than halfway done.
Okay. My inclination would be to finish Detective Stern's testimony, but I'm not going to go past 5.
Okay.
So we'll see where we're at. And is Detective Stern still the state's last witness?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Lychwick, at this point, have you thought about whether or not you want to testify in this case?
I've decided not to.
Okay. You don't have to make that determination for sure just yet. I'm only asking to get an idea of what the timeline is going to be like for today. I think at this point, after the state is done, we're still going to break until tomorrow anyway. And I'll take up any motions you have at the close of the state's case, and then I will talk to you about your right to testify and your right not to testify. Do you have any other witnesses that you intend to call?
Not at this time. And of course, I do intend to cross-examine the detective.
Sure, I understand, and you will get that opportunity to. If we aren't able to finish that by 5 o'clock, then we'll continue his cross-examination in the morning.
All right.
Okay, then we will bring the jury in.
All rise, jury.
Thank you. You may be seated.
We will continue with the testimony of Detective Stern. Detective, you are still under oath. Attorney Thompson, you may continue.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you please turn on the screen just for the witness? Detective Stern, while we're doing that, we heard from Detective Fine about the forensic image he created of Mr. Lychwick's cell phone that was recovered during that search warrant on November 26th of 2024. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And was a Cellbrite bookmark or flag report generated based upon the review of Mr. Lychwick's cell phone?
Yes.
Do you see Exhibit 92 in front of you?
Yes.
And it is a very lengthy document. It's 42 pages long. As I'm skimming through this, do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, this is the Cellbrite report of items that we flagged as potentially evidential at that point in the investigation.
Okay. Now, this summary, or on the page here, is there a summary section that tells you which phone that this Cellbrite report belongs to?
Yes.
Strike that. Can you see it is a Samsung SM-A125U?
Yes.
And was there a name associated with this phone on this first page of Exhibit 92?
Yes, the device name was Conrad's A12.
And how is Conrad spelled?
Konrad.
I would move Exhibit 92 into evidence, and
First, as to admissibility, Mr. Lychwick, do you have any objection to the receipt of Exhibit 92 in evidence?
Yes, I do.
What is your objection?
My objection is the fact that it shouldn't be used in these matters against me because this is wrong.
Okay. The court overrules the objection of the defense and will allow Exhibit 92 into evidence.
Now, as we go through this bookmark report, I'm not going through every single page of the 42 pages with you, but as we scroll down here, is there a section that is titled autofill?
Yes.
Okay, and to your knowledge, what is this autofill section? And actually, before I ask you to answer, may I please have permission to publish Exhibit 92 with the jury?
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to Exhibit 92 being used with the jury?
I object.
Okay. Exhibit 92 will be allowed for publication.
Okay, if we're looking at page 2 in Exhibit 92, there's an autofill section. To your knowledge, what does this autofill section mean?
So when you use certain websites, they may have a first name, last name field. And if you begin using the same, entering the same information over and over again, eventually the phone picks up on it, and to try to make things easier for the user, will suggest an autofill. In this case, these were autofill flags that we located in his phone that were used on an unknown website using the Chrome browser.
And so this does not tell you which website was visited where Carlos Maldonado's name was entered. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Can you see on the right-hand side here a timestamp and a last used date?
Yes, yeah, the first box there, the timestamp is November the 14th, 2023, with the last name Maldonado.
And is there also an autofill entry for first name Carlos with a last used date of November 14th of 2023?
Yes.
When we look at Exhibit 146, which is the Operation Slop Shop note, did you see a date range or a reference to November of 2023 on there?
Yes, there's a stamp in the top right corner here, November 26, 2023. So they're very near when the phone was logging this information being used on it.
Now, I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, can you turn off the screen just for one moment, please? And leave it on with the witness, please. I'm sorry. In addition to this Cellbrite report, the autofill section, are there sections that have those user attributes or user identifiers within this report?
Yes.
And from this report, were you able to obtain a Gmail account for Mr. Lychwick, the defendant?
Yes. Gmail account of Conrad with a K. Conrad Lychwick at gmail.com was used with this phone. It was logged in.
Once you had that information, then, did you prepare a search warrant for that Gmail account or that Gmail that you just referenced?
Yes.
And does that warrant have to be signed by a judge before you serve it on the company?
Yes.
And was that done in this case?
Yes.
And did you subsequently receive the returns from that Gmail account?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as we continue down in exhibit number 92, did you flag a searched items section and particular searches that were made on this phone?
Yes.
Madam Clerk, now can you please republish to the jury? So in this searched items section, what did you observe? I'm sorry, that was a terrible question. What did you observe as it relates specifically to the investigation into the homicide of Carlos Maldonado?
First, you'll see on here we flagged, they're very close together in time, so it doesn't necessarily mean repetitive searching. That'll show up on a Cellbrite report sometimes. But the first one is Waukesha News for October 2024. Continue scrolling down. Waukesha breaking news today. And then the one that really stood out there was on November the 24th, 2024, Waukesha News for November shooting.
Have there been any shootings in November or October of 2024 in the city of Waukesha?
I object.
What's your objection?
No direct relevance to this case. It could be, I was not searching for that. I was searching for, I heard some gunshots outside of the Salty Toad restaurant in Waukesha at a bar.
Mr. Lychwick, I am not going to allow you to editorialize or try to introduce other evidence to the jury. You have an opportunity to state a legal objection, and that is it. Your objection was stated as relevance. The objection is overruled. The witness will be allowed to answer.
Do you need me to re-ask the question?
No, based on, I know I recall the question.
Okay.
I'm a police officer. I'm pretty well tied into what's going on in our community. There was no shootings during that time frame. Notably, as of November 24th, 2024, the knowledge that this investigation included the fact that the victim was shot was not public.
As we continue scrolling through, we see several repeated searches, but you talked about not necessarily searching the same thing over and over again, just how it comes up on the Cellbrite report. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Now, when we come to lines 12, 13.
Take it down, please. Attorney Thompson, if you have a specific search that you're going to reference, I'd ask that you go to that specific search instead of scrolling through any potential searches that otherwise might be irrelevant.
Okay.
Thank you. So if you want to, the screen is up for this particular witness. You can go to a particular search and then ask the witness questions about that, and that page could be published.
Okay, I am looking specifically at line 12 on page 13 of Exhibit 92. Do you see that in front of you?
Yes.
And what is that search term?
BGS 9 German Border Police.
Okay, and what is the date of that search?
November 22nd, 2024.
Okay. Then, in looking at exhibit number, I'm sorry, still on 92, but in looking at line 15, what is the search on that line?
November the 10th, 2024, there are searches for Cold Spring, Minnesota, and variations of it, Cold Spring M, Cold Spring, Minnesota again. And the significance of that is one of the towns that the female named Raven, referenced in one of the letters, lives in.
I object.
What's your objection?
She does not live in Cold Spring, Minnesota. She lives in Sturgeon Lake, Minnesota, and we both lived in...
Mr. Lychwick, stop. You may state a legal basis for your objection, and that's it. You cannot testify in front of the jury. If you do it again, I may have to have you removed from the courtroom. I'm not going to allow you to continue to defy the court's order and try to testify to the jury.
I am not trying to.
No, you're not trying to. You are testifying to the jury, and I'm not going to allow it. What's your legal basis for your objection?
There's no tie to the case to Raven Tanya Frederick, for one.
That would be a
doesn't live
relevance
there.
objection.
I'm sorry?
That would be a relevance objection.
Relevance objection, then.
All right. The state has established relevance through the admission of the other notes and the other references to that individual and to Minnesota, and therefore the court will overrule the objection. Attorney Thompson, you may continue.
I just have a couple more searches that I want to talk to you about. Line 22 on page 14, is there a search there?
November 9th, 2024, German/English.
As we continue going through the search section, I'd like to start at line 43 on page 16. What is that search?
On November 7th, 2024, there was a search for small storage unit rentals in Oshkosh.
And Attorney Thompson, I just wanted to clarify, I didn't mean that you're unable to publish the exhibit, but I just wanted you to ask for specific publication of specific searches rather than scrolling through the entire list.
And that's okay. I think it is just as, I think it is just fine to have Detective Stern read from Exhibit 92 from the screen in front of him.
Okay, you may continue.
Are there other searches then on Mr. Lychwick's phone related to storage units?
Yes, on November 7th, basically all of them revolve around small storage unit rentals in Oshkosh. And at the time that we had this downloaded completed after the November 26th warrant, that was known to us that search had been completed.
In looking at line 50 on page 17, what is that search?
On October the 20th, 2024, there was a search for Raven T. Frederick, current address.
Do we also see that same search again on October 19th of 2024?
Yes.
And line 62 on page 18, what is that search?
October 16th, 2024, there was a search for Raven T. Frederick, Sturgeon Lake, Minnesota.
As you looked through Exhibit 92, in particular looking at lines 72, 73, 74, does it appear that, well, first, what are those searches in those three lines?
All three of those searches were conducted on October the 16th of 2024, and two of them are People Looker and People Looker Free Alternative.
I'm sorry, I'm just checking one more thing. In lines 122 and 123 on page 23 of Exhibit 92, are there searches related to the German language?
Yes, on September 28th, 2024, there was a search for African countries that speak German, and what is the one-word order in German?
Are there searches in Exhibit 92 at various times of Glenda Rose?
Yes.
What about Teresa Newman?
Yes.
Do you know who those people are?
Yes.
Who are they?
Glenda Rose is the building manager at 1512 East North Street. Teresa Newman is one of the residents there.
Again, objection.
What's your
Relevance to this homicide investigation.
Attorney Thompson, what's the relevance to Teresa Newman?
That she is one of the individuals who was present when that police were called after Mr. Maldonado's remains were recovered.
Okay.
She was not a witness, but she, I believe, was referenced by Ms. Rose during her testimony.
Okay, the court will overrule the objection on relevance. It's up to the jury to determine what weight, if any, to give to that evidence and that testimony. You may continue.
When we look at the searches in lines 164 through 167 in Exhibit 92, is there a reference or to German soldiers?
Yep, all of these searches were conducted on September 27th, 2024, and are as follows. Did German soldiers get pensions after World War II? How many former German military personnel joined the U.S. Armed Forces after World War II? Did any Luftwaffe personnel join the USAF after World War II? Luftwaffe planes.
And
I object.
What's your objection?
Relevance to this homicide investigation. Looking up history and the cultural background, I mean, come on.
Again, the state has laid an appropriate foundation for the relevance of German inquiries and German materials given the other evidence in this case, so the court will overrule the objection on relevance.
They've pounded the point home time and time already. Do we have to have this?
All right, the court will interpret that as a cumulative objection, which is a legal objection to make. Given that these are inquiries with regards to references on a phone versus the previous testimony, which was references in an interview and on paperwork, the court will allow some additional leeway on introducing this type of evidence. But certainly if there are more, you can raise that cumulative objection, Mr. Lychwick. For now, it's overruled.
Now, as we continue reviewing exhibit number 92, are there more searches that are related to Germany?
Yes.
Okay. Once you, actually, strike that. Now, if we go back to exhibit 164, which is our timeline, we have the search warrant at Mr. Lychwick's apartment. We've talked about what was on his phone and the notes. So now, on November 26th of 2024, does your department write and apply for a GPS tracking device warrant?
Yes, based on the notes that we located, did not add up to probable cause to make an arrest at that time. However, we did apply for a search warrant to get a GPS to continue the investigation.
And was that warrant approved to place the GPS tracking device on Mr. Lychwick's car?
Yes.
And was that a Kia Forte?
Yes.
I'm showing you what is marked as State's Exhibit 183. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is it?
That's Mr. Lychwick's Kia Forte.
Now, once the GPS tracker was placed, and did that allow officers to, in live time, see where Mr. Lychwick was going in this vehicle?
Yes, it did.
Did law enforcement also have surveillance on Mr. Lychwick outside of the GPS tracking device?
Yes, we did.
And when I say surveillance outside of the tracking device, what do I mean by that?
We had officers physically undercover. Basically, they would follow him when he left his residence.
At this point, had you, actually, no, strike that. Now, between November 26th of 2024 and December 1st, what patterns do you observe as it relates to Mr. Lychwick's movements?
During that time in examining, the GPS was telling us and the data that it was providing us and the officers that were following, it was very typical local errands in the area. It was nothing suspicious at that time in terms of his movements.
Did there come a time on December 1st of 2024 where Mr. Lychwick started traveling outside of those general patterns that you just talked about?
Yes.
And can you tell me about that, please?
Yep. On December 1st, we noted that he started heading north on Highway 164. Again, at this time, I had known from the phone download that there was a November 7th search for storage units in Oshkosh. I know just from familiarity and living in Wisconsin almost my whole life that from Waukesha, you would be heading up north on 164 to head towards Oshkosh. So we followed him because he was now leaving the city, potentially in a direction that was related to what we had located on his phone.
And was that you and Detective Skolton that followed him?
That's correct.
Now, we've heard testimony about how Mr. Lychwick was then followed to the U-Haul facility located in Kimberly, Wisconsin. Do you recall that?
Yes.
I would ask to play again exhibit number 98, which is one of the U-Haul clips, part of that PowerPoint. It showed the outside south row. I believe it was previously published as well, and I would ask to play a portion of that with Detective Stern again.
It was, and you may.
Thank you. Okay. Now, what are we going to see on this video here, just to kind of refresh our recollection?
I believe on this video you'll see the Kia Forte operated by Mr. Lychwick, and I believe this is the video where he is loading items into the trunk of his vehicle.
I'm playing starting from the very beginning. Okay, I did skip forward because I was not exactly sure of the timestamp, but now I am at 2:17 and 21 seconds on the video, which sorry. Thank you. I went to remove it to see the timestamp on the video, and that did not work. No, okay, never mind. So I'm going back to 2140. 2:21:40, excuse me. Okay, I'm pausing the video just before it ends. Detective Stern, was this video kind of skipping a little bit?
Yes, I learned there's context to that, and it has to do with the camera systems at U-Haul. That is not the equipment here.
Okay. Now, when we obtained this U-Haul video, had we been made aware by Ms. Maloney, and did we hear her talk about how Mr. Lychwick had come and empty his storage unit?
Yes.
And as you and Detective Skolton were following Mr. Lychwick's car back into Waukesha County, had you learned that the storage unit was confirmed to be empty?
Correct.
And based upon your knowledge that there were items in that car that had been removed from that storage unit, and based on everything you knew up until this point in this investigation, did you have reason to believe that there might be items related to this investigation in the car?
Yes, based on all the factors present, as we're following him, because he did not stop anywhere and nothing got thrown out of the vehicle, as we were observing him all the way back, the reasonable conclusion that we came to was that whatever was in that storage unit was now in that car.
Madam Clerk, can you turn on the screen, please, just for the detective? Now, as you continued following Mr. Lychwick's vehicle, once it got back into the city of Waukesha, did officers perform a traffic stop on his vehicle?
Yes.
And as a result of that traffic stop, was this Kia Forte he was driving seized?
Yes.
Did officers, or did you, prepare a search warrant in order to search Mr. Lychwick's vehicle?
Yes.
And was that approved by a judge?
Yes.
Now, if we go back to our timeline on Exhibit 164, did this search occur the following day on December 2nd of 2024?
Yes, it did.
Now, I'd like to show you what have been marked.
What's your objection?
Assume items into evidence. The search warrant was not granted until after they seized the vehicle.
Mr. Lychwick, that's irrelevant for trial purposes. That is a pretrial issue. The search warrants have been ruled on by the court, and they are admissible. The evidence found from the search warrants are admissible. So the objection's overruled. Attorney Thompson, you may continue.
Now, Detective Stern, if I could go through these exhibits with you, and then I will have some questions for you about them at the end. Do you recognize exhibits 183 through 212?
Yes.
When you executed the search warrant on Mr. Lychwick's vehicle, were photos taken during that search?
Yes.
And exhibits 183 through 212, are those the photos?
Yes, those were all taken during the search of the vehicle in the pole barn at the police department.
And they're a fair and accurate depiction of the search as it occurred on December 2nd of 2024?
Yes, they are.
I would move exhibits 183 through 212 into evidence and ask to publish to the jury.
Any objection to the admission of those exhibits, Mr. Lychwick?
I strenuously object.
Okay. The objection is overruled. Those exhibits will be allowed into evidence. Any objection to publication, Mr. Lychwick?
Yes, I object.
Okay, again, the objection's overruled. Those exhibits will be allowed to be published with the jury.
And looking at exhibits 183 and 184, is this Mr. Lychwick's vehicle?
Yep, that is the front of the vehicle.
And this is the vehicle that was searched?
That's correct.
Now, as we already heard from Specialist Schmidt about the way in which this vehicle is searched, exhibit 185, that's the back of this car, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, we heard from him that we go section by section of the car. So in the front driver's seat, what are we looking at exhibit 186?
Appears to be a Maglite style flashlight.
And 187?
Binoculars underneath the seat.
188?
Various paperwork, which included the U-Haul contract that was entered as evidence during this case.
Now, in the back seat, behind the driver's seat, what are we seeing in 189?
In that red bag, if I recall correctly, it's a Sendix grocery store bag. Those are the two boots that were placed on evidence here.
And are those the two boots that we saw here in exhibits 150 and 150A?
Yes.
And those are the boots that were sent to the crime lab in this case?
Yes.
I'm sorry, not the boots. The swabs from these boots were what were sent to the crime lab. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Now, when we get to the trunk of the car, which is where we see Mr. Lychwick on this U-Haul video, what do we end up finding in this car, in this trunk of this car, that had significance to you in this investigation?
So the significance in this investigation, you'll see there's kind of a blue duffel bag and that burgundy duffel bag with the blue straps on it. Also in this photograph, you can see that gravel shovel with the black duct tape around the end. If you recall, I find it strikingly similar to the video that we watched outside of 1512 East North on May 2nd of 2024.
Objection.
What's your objection?
Inference. The way he refers to the shovel as that shovel, as though it's involved in a crime,
Okay.
which it was not.
The objection is overruled. It is up to the jury to determine what weight and significance to give to that testimony. Attorney Thompson, you may continue.
Now, when we go to exhibit 191, is this a closer up view of the left side of the trunk or the driver's side of the trunk?
Yes.
And then as we continue with taking these photos, do we eventually pull everything out of the trunk of the car?
Correct. We started pulling these packages one by one. We laid out tarps as described by Specialist Schmidt and methodically unpacked them to look at their contents.
Okay. Now, at 192, that's the passenger side of the trunk?
Yes.
Now, 193, what are the items, or where are these items from in the car?
These were located in the front passenger compartment of the vehicle.
Moving on to 194, do you know where these items were located from?
Yes, that was the back seat passenger compartment.
And is 195 a closer up view of 194?
Could you go back to 194 real quick? Yes, it is.
Okay. Why take a picture of this?
The black duct tape was something that we noted both during the autopsy as well as during the apartment with that. So again, we don't know that it's directly involved. However, it bears striking resemblance to what was located during the autopsy.
Exhibit number 196. What are we seeing here?
This is the unpacking of the burgundy and duffel bag that was located in the trunk.
And Exhibit 197, is there anything here that you noted as it relates to this investigation?
As it relates to this investigation, notice the Brute brand 55-gallon contractor black plastic garbage bags. These, again, bear a striking resemblance to the plastic bags that Carlos Maldonado was located in.
And without raising them up, do you see Exhibits 151 and 151A on the witness stand in front of you?
Yes, I do.
And what are those?
These are the large size garbage bags. 151A is the Brute roll that's in this photograph, to the best of my knowledge. These were located inside of the trunk during this search.
I would move Exhibits 151 and 151A into evidence.
What was the identification of 151 itself?
That is a garbage bag roll, and 151A is a second garbage bag roll.
Okay. Mr. Lychwick, any objection to the admission of those exhibits?
I strenuously object. He's inferring that these had something to do with a crime. He admits they don't know what they were exactly used for.
Okay, well, that's argument to make, Mr. Lychwick, and inferences you wish to draw. Ultimately, it's the jury's determination. So Exhibit 151 and 151A will be received.
And these were all the items located in this burgundy bag in the trunk. Am I understanding that correctly?
I don't believe this photograph shows the scope of it, but these items were in the burgundy bag. I believe a further out photo might show more items that were also in the burgundy bag.
Okay. And that was in 196. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Moving on to 198, what are we looking at here?
This was a ammo can that was located inside of the trunk, as well as bags of loose ammunition.
Exhibit 199, what are we looking at here?
Most notably, this was boxes of 9mm Luger ammunition.
Why do you say most notably?
Looking at that photograph, because by this time we had identified the projectiles recovered at autopsy as being 9mm, and we eventually locate the 9mm Luger pistol in the trunk of the vehicle.
Objection.
What's your objection?
Infers on a coincidence. No hard proof here.
That's not a legal reason for excluding the evidence. The objection's overruled.
Detective Stern, do you see Exhibits 153 and 154 in front of you?
Yes.
What are they?
These are bags containing multiple boxes of 9mm ammunition that was located inside the trunk of his vehicle.
Are these the boxes of ammunition that we see in Exhibit 199?
Exhibit 153 is all contained in Exhibit 199.
What about Exhibit 154?
I don't see them in this particular photograph.
Okay, but it was recovered from the trunk of the car?
That's correct.
Okay. Moving on to Exhibit 200, what do we see here?
Again, we see the red boxes that contain 9mm ammunition and additional items. Some are cleaning supplies. The rods would be for a firearm.
In looking at Exhibit 201, is this a different angle of Exhibit 200?
Yes, those rods are, as I just referred to, those would be used for cleaning firearms.
Now, Exhibit 202, do you know what this shows?
This is the shovel that I previously pointed out in the trunk of the vehicle.
Do you see Exhibit 152 in front of you?
It's right there.
Can you please grab that, and I'll have some questions for you. What is contained in that brown bag marked as Exhibit 152?
Metal gravel shovel that was recovered during the search of his vehicle.
I would move Exhibit
I
152.
object.
Hang on, she hasn't done anything yet. Attorney Thompson?
I would move Exhibit 152 into evidence, ask that Detective Stern open it and publish to the jury.
First, as to admission of 152, Mr. Lychwick.
I object. The poor decedent was not killed with a shovel. There is no connection directly of a shovel to this homicide investigation.
All right, that would be a relevance objection. The
Relevance.
court is allowing the evidence in over that objection. It will be received. As to publication, Mr. Lychwick?
I object.
Okay, the court will allow 152 to be opened and the item published to the jury.
If you could please open it. Detective Stern, on the top of the handle of the shovel marked as Exhibit 152, is it wrapped in anything?
Yes, this appears to be black duct tape.
Okay, thank you. You can place it back down then.
Objection.
What's your objection?
So what? Relevancy.
Okay, objection's overruled. The jury can determine what, if any, significance to give to the exhibit. You may continue, Attorney Thompson.
In looking at Exhibit 203, is this the bag that was right next to the shovel in the previous exhibit?
Yes.
Were there any items of evidentiary value in this bag?
In that blue bag, in this photo, I'm seeing the cords in there. I believe the blue bag. Could we return to one of the exhibits that showed the overall of the trunk?
Yes. I will go back to Exhibit 190.
Okay, that blue bag is located in the trunk. I don't recall anything of evidential value in that bag.
Okay. Going back to Exhibit 204 then, are these additional bags located in the trunk of the vehicle?
Yes.
In Exhibit 204, was there a firearm located in one of these bags?
Yes, firearm is wrapped inside those grocery bag, that plastic grocery bag right there. This photo was taken before we opened that up and revealed that firearm.
Now looking at Exhibit 205, what is that?
That is a picture of the firearm that was located inside of that blue bag.
What about the bullet that is next to it, kind of towards the top of Exhibit 206? Where was that found in relation to the firearm?
To the best of my recollection, that was a loose bullet that was in the bag with there.
And Exhibit 207, what is that?
That is the stamp on the back of the bullets. You see the primer, the bullet. You can see stamped there 9mm Luger, which is the caliber.
And Exhibit 208?
There's a picture of the firearm, that loose bullet, and then the magazine that also had bullets in it.
And 209?
It's a close-up of the grip of the firearm that was located.
210?
It's a top photo of the firearm that was located.
211?
Another photograph with a ruler for scale for the size of the firearm.
212?
Another close-up attempting to identify the serial number on the firearm.
Okay. Now, we have searched this vehicle. We have located these particular items that you talked about. Once you are finished searching Mr. Lychwick's vehicle, and do you make the decision you no longer need to continue retaining the vehicle?
Yes, after the search was completed, we also examined the vehicle for any other evidence that the vehicle may have been used in this crime. We did not find any, so there was no more need for us to retain possession of the vehicle after these items had been seized, as we were examining whether or not they were evidential in this case.
Did you contact Mr. Lychwick and advise him that his vehicle was being released and he was able to come and pick it up at the police department?
Yes, once a day on December 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, I had phone contact with him, told him that he could come get his car.
Did he ever come and get his car?
No, several times he told me he was too sick, he didn't feel like it. On December 3rd, he asked for a ride. So myself and Detective Bloom went to the apartment, told him we would pick him up and bring him to the department so the car could be released to him. When we arrived, he refused to get in the car with us and kind of backed away from us staying in the garage area. And ultimately, we left. We told him we could not drive his vehicle for liability reasons to him. I just let him know whenever he was ready to come get his car, he could come get his car.
On December 5th of 2024, did you receive a call from the crime lab regarding the firearms identification of this pistol that we're seeing in Exhibit 212?
Yes. On December 5th, that is when I received a phone call from Jessica Crawford, who we heard from the crime lab, and she gave me the verbal confirmation that the projectiles recovered from Carlos Maldonado at autopsy. Her determination was that those projectiles came from the barrel of this firearm located in his trunk.
Once you received this information, did you prepare a arrest warrant for Kevin Lychwick?
Yes. With that knowledge, we now determined that there was probable cause to arrest him for this crime.
Now, is Mr. Lychwick arrested then on December 6th of 2024?
Yes.
Prior to his arrest, had law enforcement been able to determine whether Mr. Lychwick had obtained a different vehicle than this Kia Forte?
Yes, surveillance continued on him, and as I said, he did not come and pick up his vehicle, even though I called him once a day to let him know that he could do so. And I believe it was on December 5th, it was determined that he got into the vehicle that was believed to be an Uber, and we found that he had rented a car from a local, I don't recall exactly which one, but it was a local car rental service. So he returned with a new car, and he had also gone to a cell phone company and obtained a new phone.
During the arrest of Mr. Lychwick, was that cell phone seized?
On
I'm sorry.
6th.
On December 6th of 2024, when Mr. Lychwick was arrested by your department, this new phone that you just referenced, was that also seized?
Yes, it was.
And was that examined by Detective Fine in the same manner that we've previously heard him talk about?
Yes, it was.
And did you review the new phone that was recovered from Mr. Lychwick?
Yes, I did.
Did you find anything on there that was significant to you in this investigation?
There was nothing new in the time since the first phone seizure to then, and most of the other data just replicated the other phone due to like a cloud backup of his accounts. So much of the same data was located during that second search on the new phone because of the backup. And then no, there was no additional from the dates to the time it was seized again.
Between the two phones, did you notice a difference in the existence of a passcode?
Yes, the first phone, as Detective Fine said, did not have a passcode. The second phone did have a passcode.
After the arrest...
Objection.
What's your objection?
Inference. It makes it sound as though I did something wrong. That is not the reason why I used the passcode on the phone. I was not trained to be obfuscative. It makes me look like I'm being obfuscative.
Mr. Lychwick, you can state a legal objection. You cannot try to testify in front of the jury. I'm going to again instruct the jury to disregard the defendant's statements. The objection is overruled. The jury can draw inferences from the evidence. We are at 4:58, Attorney Thompson. Do you have more than 2 minutes of testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Then we are going to take a break, and we'll break for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I caution you that you have not heard all of the testimony in this case. You have not been instructed yet, so do not discuss this case with anyone, even amongst yourselves or with loved ones at home. We are still on track to finish this case and get it to you for deliberations tomorrow, so you can plan accordingly. I am going to have you... going to have you report at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. There are a few legal issues that the court can take up with the parties at 8:30, and that would give us a half an hour to discuss some of those issues. And hopefully we can get those issues hammered out by the time that you arrive at 9 so that we can be efficient with your time. So plan on arriving at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we will hopefully conclude the testimony and proceed in the case. We are adjourned. Thank you. You may be seated. Detective, you can step down if you would like. Tomorrow, what my plan would be is to convene at 8:30 with the parties. Mr. Lychwick, you would still reserve your right to make a motion at the close of the state's case. I will hear that outside the presence of the jury. So we may have to bring the jury in at 9, conclude the testimony with Detective Stern, have you do cross-examination, any redirect. The state can rest in front of the jury. Detective Stern, the jury will go out, and then I'll hear any motions that you have. And at that point, I'll talk with you about your decision whether or not to testify. Okay, so I'll give you the evening to reflect on that. What I would like to do then from 8:30 to 9 o'clock is go over potential jury instructions and have that jury instruction